Hey, I'm Dave, co-host of Blueprints to Punch List podcast, and I help healthcare companies expand into new markets by building and delivering their medical facilities. So let's dive into the topics. Number one is avoiding delays. This is where the biggest problems tend to happen with projects, is where a subcontractor comes to the GC, and then the GC then delivers the message or the bad news to the owner that we have some sort of a problem that needs solving. It could be the drawings that don't necessarily match and don't fit the plan, the layout doesn't line up, or it could be something as simple as material that had been spec'd out is no longer available. So those can all lead to project delays, as we all know. So most of the time when a great subcontractor comes to us, they will present several different options for what to do. They don't just throw up their hands and go, okay, well, what do we need to do here? Give me some solution, but rather go, hey, we think that these are similar options. Maybe a similar flooring or a light fixture, something that can still have the design intent and keep that look and feel, but also keep the ball rolling with the project. So seen this again multiple times, and it's just it's something really simple to avoid by taking that extra step and presenting a solution. And again, that goes for when, as the GC, I'm talking to the owner or in the field, or even internally with our team, right? Problems come up, delays happen, but what are we going to do about that? And thinking forward to that next step. So the second thing the second most common thing we're trying to do is to control costs. This is a big one, because as projects get bid out, we've talked about this on other episodes, that the quotes and these proposals that the owners get often are missing scopes. Scope creep is what it's called officially in construction terms, but it happens more often than we would like to admit. And the problem becomes is that when a scope gets missed, whether it's intentionally or by accident, then you got more costs to figure out, have to go back to the owner for change orders, and nobody likes that. So how do we avoid these? And let me just give you a quick example too, where I had one of our clients had their fiber internet line that needed to be ran to the building. There was no existing fiber there. The survey for that fiber came back and placed the box at the building about 200 linear feet from where we had the stub out for the conduit going into this facility. So we would need it to run, or 200 feet of conduit was required to run. After further conversations going back and forth with the internet company's engineer and the company and our client, we figured out that one, the fiber company was not going to be able to deliver this conduit in time for the business to open. So they asked us to step in, and as we're pricing it out, somebody had suggested, one of our vendors actually, to say, well, why don't you put the box at the building right by the client's space instead of 200 feet away? And just that suggestion probably saved $15,000 in labor and materials that could have been avoided. If the client is going to pay for this particular work to get done anyway, shifting the location of this box actually, again, saved them huge amounts of money. So it was one of those instances where the subcontractor was proactive and they just had the forethought to instead of just go, hey, this is where these guys want to put the box. Let's give them an alternative options. And it happens all the time. Again, I mentioned flooring with the delays before, but can we have a similar flooring material that's readily available to present, similar color, similar dye lot, all of that? Or do we have a fixture, a light fixture that's going to be similar to meet the costs? Because in reality, it's the subcontractors. These guys are the ones that are purchasing the material. It's not the owner. It's not the architect or the engineer. It always goes back to the source, the subcontractors, the GCs who are familiar with this process. So all that to say is that have solutions when it comes to controlling the cost, because it will make a difference and clients will appreciate that. And it will also help avoid the delays, which we talked about before. So the third and final problem that we come across quite often is how to keep facilities operational during construction. This one is tricky because there's a lot of different parties involved. So it's not just an owner's rep who's trying to relay information back to the stakeholders, but now we have a facility that is seeing patients. You have staff there, and they are trying not to close the business while whatever renovation or whatever refresh that needs to happen. So coming up with solutions here just involves lots and lots and lots of communication. Meeting with the center administrator, meeting with the owner's rep, and make sure that again, stakeholders are sometimes involved in that process. But we also bring in our subcontractors to that process, and in those conference calls as well, to make sure that every problem gets solved. And it happens over and over again. There's things that I don't think of, but maybe the millwork guy will point out something that, hey, how are we going to install the cabinets in that area? Or it's going to take, maybe I had estimated it was going to take 3 days for that install. They're going to go, no, it's definitely 4.5, 5 days for us to get that done. So it's the more people who are involved in the work, the less chances that we're going to have any kind of issues with figuring out how to keep that facility operational, keep them clean, and still be able to get the work done. So if you found this video helpful and you liked what the content was about, subscribe for more insights. And also feel free to reach out to us on our website, wilsoncompany.net, for your next construction project.